So I hereby call the 2026 Air Force Sergeants Association Legislative Forum to order. Welcome to the event where we talk about what we're going to do for our platform for the future year. These decisions made today will be the things that impact you. So when we talk about the Legislative Forum, don't be afraid to come to the mic. If there's issues that are not on here, how we operate, you're going to hear from the team, is at the grassroots level. This is why we exist, right? We are a membership-based organization, but we need to hear from the members. But we will have the phenomenal team that we have in place talk more about that. So I do at this time want to take a moment to recognize the dedicated members of the AFSA's International Legislative Committee who have worked extremely hard since our last annual meeting to steer AFSA's legislative program. Please join me in welcoming AFSA's Legislative Committee Chair, Chief Master Sergeant Jonathan Parker. Their Senior Advisor, Past President, Chief Master Sergeant Retired, Jeffrey Ledoux. Committee members, Senior Master Sergeant Retired, Jim Christinger. Chief Master Sergeant Retired, Dr. Keith Castile. Our Family Matters Trustee, Carrie Krantz. Pay attention to the rank, please. Senior Airman, making an impact, Tyler Traynor. And Senior Master Sergeant Retired, Dale Lutzen. Committee members not present, you can hold your applause to the end. Chief Master Sergeant Ben Hardy, Staff Sergeant Abel Carve, Senior Master Sergeant Retired Barbara Schlieben, Chief Master Sergeant Retired Jim Lokovic, Master Sergeant Brenda Ballas, and Master Sergeant Andrew Greenwell. And of course, the man that we could not do anything without, right? Our staff liaison, AFSA's Legislative Policy Advisor, Jonathan Nutman. So now let's please welcome to the podium AFSA's Legislative Committee Chair, Chief Master Sergeant Jonathan Parker.
Thank you, IP. This past year, the members of our legislative team frequently met with our nation's elected and appointed officials to educate, inform, and persuade them to introduce, advance, and support policies that impact service members past, present, and their families. Each year, we recognize a member of Congress who has consistently stepped forward to support the men and women in uniform and their families. It is only fitting that this year the Air Force Sergeants Association recognizes an extraordinary public servant with the most prestigious legislative award, the L. Mendel Rivers Award of Excellence. This award is named after the late Congressman L. Mendel Rivers, who served as chairman of the House Committee on Armed Forces throughout his career in Congress. He championed the cause of service members from all the armed forces. This award is presented annually to a legislator the association believes is the most deserving of recognition based on their active participation in military and veteran issues, paying particularly attention to those related to improving the well-being and quality of life of Air and Space Force enlisted members, veterans, and their families. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a heartfelt appreciation that we present the 2025 L. Mendel Rivers Award to Mike Boast. Sorry, it's my own handwriting there, but apologize for that. Mike Boast. The presentation will occur, yes, let's give an applause. The presentation will occur when the headquarters is back in the office. IP Haro, back to you.
All right, now for the business before us, the review of our 2026-2027 legislative platform, a proposed resolution and an open letter that will shape our advocacy for years to come. Copies of these documents have been placed on your table, so if you haven't reviewed them, please take a look. Here to conduct this segment of the Legislative Forum is our Legislative Committee Chairman, Chief Master Sergeant Jonathan Parker.
Hey. All right. Thank you for welcoming me back. So we are here this afternoon to focus on a core tasking of our association, that of legislative advocacy. For the interests of our members, the work we do here today will be among the most important that we do at this convention. We will discuss our legislative efforts since we last met in Solomon's Island, Maryland, and review and approve a new legislative platform for the coming year and discuss a number of military and veteran-related initiatives for our chapter to thoughtfully consider and take action on, if not done so already. As the recognized voice of the Total Air and Space Force Enlisted Corps and their families in Washington, D.C., AFSA was very active and successful again this past year. However, it is important to note that ever-tightening budgets are forcing governmental and military leaders to make consequential decisions that impact and potentially hinder quality-of-life programs for which we have fought so hard to create, preserve, and expand over the years. This has made our efforts all the more difficult and the role of our legislative team more valuable. Despite these strong forces, our legislative team persisted and worked diligently to secure the largest military pay raise in history at a total of 14.5% for junior enlisted service members, 4.5% across the board, plus an additional 10% for junior enlisted. There's a multiple other things, but I'm short on time, so I'm going to pass some of those things over to John when he does his stuff. So I'm going to pass some of that over. All of the things we've done were accomplished in great part through the tremendous efforts of our legislative team. Service members past and present and their families have a lot to lose as congressional leaders work to resolve big differences in their respective versions of congressional appropriations packages and the National Defense Authorization Act. Through the strength of our thousands of members and legislative team, AFSA can speak loudly for the rights and interests of the community. It is time for us to speak up. At this time, I will ask AFSA's Legislative Policy Advisor, Jonathan Nutman, to come up and give us our legislative update.
Good morning, everybody. It's an honor to stand in front of the people we go to work for every single day. So I wanted to provide you with a straight report on what your military and government team accomplished this past year, starting with the real wins. In the defense bill, in appropriations, on the House floor, in committees, and inside the VA. Every single one of them happened because of you all. You all showed up when we put out grassroots actions, and you all continue to do that every time we ask. When Congress approached the brink of another shutdown earlier this year, AFSA delivered one message to both chambers. Debate the contentions of each item on their own merits, but do not force service members and their families to go without pay over political disputes that have nothing to do with them. We press for defense appropriations and pay our troops protections. And we put the real cost of a missed paycheck in front of every office we could reach. We kept faith with the people who stand the watch. That was our message, and we'll deliver it as many times as we need to. The FY26 defense funding measure invests in people, and AFSA fought for provisions that prove it. A 3.8% pay raise that took effect January 1, 2026, with a targeted boost for those hit hardest by rising costs. We had fully funded childcare and CDC operations, fee assistance, and universal pre-K, $47 million for Special Victims Council, and full funding for suicide prevention and mental health care across the services. For the next year, for this upcoming one, the FY27 NDAA, both Armed Services Committees in the House and the Senate have passed their NDAA marks, and both carry provisions that we fought for, that you all fought for. A 3.6% pay raise in the Senate bill, and if you know anything about the Senate, they're stingy, so that's something we're happy with. Faster BAH adjustments when the market spikes. We heard from you that was a big point of pain that you all felt. Mandatory CONUS COLA and a major fix, excluding BAH from the basic needs allowance calculation, making thousands of more junior enlisted families eligible for that food security benefit. For our families, a paid DOW military spouse fellowship program with remote options, co-location policy updates, and a top-to-bottom EFMP review to focus on lasting reform. TRICARE accountability as well. After the T5 transition failures, AFSA pushed both chambers to act. Year-out beneficiary notification, a digital complaint system with mandatory timelines, and quarterly provider directory validation. And we didn't wait on legislation. Your team went directly to DHA to hold Tri-West and Humana accountable for the access failures of our members reported. In addition, blast overpressure protections on both the prevention and the VA care side, and a GAO study to make SkillBridge work for every separating airman and guardian. Nothing is final until the bills get reported at a conference, and provisions without vocal support can get traded away. On the veterans front, written informed consent. A year ago, this was an idea. Today, through our coalition building, it has sponsors in both the House and the Senate, and we've held multiple meetings with VA officials and begun driving meaningful reforms from the inside. The Love Lives On Act has also passed the House. This is a major step for surviving spouses. Our education transparency legislation just cleared the Senate Help Committee, and AFSA submitted testimony backing the No Pain for Veterans Act, because veterans deserve pain care that works in practice, not just on paper. The fight we will not give up, Major Richard Starr Act. More than 52,000 combat injured retirees are still being shortchanged by the Wounded Veteran Tax. This year, we met with Representative Gus Bilirakis to re-energize the push and carve new pathways, legislative and administrative, after repeated stalls, and we took it public, standing at a press conference alongside Representative Bilirakis, Senator Blumenthal, and our partner organizations. We said there are no more excuses, there are no more delays. Anybody who is forced into medical retirement deserves their full retirement pay. AFSA is not giving up on concurrent receipt, period. On the grassroots front, you are your own best advocates. I know you're probably tired of me saying that. The part of this year I'm proudest of wasn't what we did in Washington necessarily, it was what you all did. AFSA members from across the country converged on Capitol Hill for our Day of Advocacy, sitting face to face with senators and staff on veteran suicide, HBOT access, the STAR Act, Pay Our Troops, IVF coverage, and the Military Family GI Bill Promise Act. Real people, real stories, real impact. Thank you to JP, our legislative trustee, for getting our membership in those rooms. And all year, we've been building the grassroots infrastructure, tools, training, action alerts, so every AFSA member can be their own best advocate. Now let me speak on a bill that has stirred up a bit of controversy the past couple months. I know many of you in the room have heard about it, the Take Care of America's Veterans Act. When the chairman released the final text, we did two things. First, we communicated our appreciation. This bill carries provisions our community has fought for, not for months, not for years, but for decades. These wins did not appear out of thin air. They exist because of people in this room and members like you across the country. You never stop pushing, not for a second. The next thing we did was communicate our deep concerns. We told Congress plainly that Section 108, the pay for, troubles us because paying for one group of veterans by reaching into the benefits of another is not how we believe this nation should keep its promises. And we raised serious questions about another section, the home loan refinancing fees, and educational institution definitions, because the details matter when they land on our members' kitchen tables. Then came the harder question: where does AFSA stand? Your headquarters staff and your committee sat down and discussed, and made a deliberate choice. We would educate our members on the facts of the bill, every provision, the good and the concerning, and we would pump the brakes on taking an affirmative or firm yes or no position, because this bill became partisan and politically charged in a way that had less to do with the veterans and more to do with politics. I'm sure for those of you tracking have seen some of the toxic, abusive vitriol on social media that's spread on social media and in the comment section. We wanted to protect our members and prevent that from creeping into our association. AFSA is and always will be a nonpartisan organization. We have spent the past several years revitalizing and expanding our grassroots engagement at the chapter and division level. And that work is built on trust. We did not feel comfortable telling you all to push your representative to vote a certain way on this divisive bill. Because here's the truth, our membership is not a monolith. We talked to members across the country, and we heard a wide range of opinions on the bill. And every one of them was valid. So we gave you what you deserve, the facts, straight and complete, so that every AFSA member could reach their own conclusion and speak to their own representatives with their voice. That's respecting the people we serve. So what comes next? We have wins in appropriations in both NDAA marks. There's a bill through the House, some that are working through committee, and reforms already moving inside the VA. But none of it is law yet. As the House and Senate negotiate the final NDAA, make sure to call your representative and both senators. We want to thank you for your service, thank you for your membership, and thank you for standing with us. Together we're stronger. Chief Parker.
Excellent, thank you. Let me just say it's notable that our entire headquarters team, from military and government relations to communications, has transformed the way we communicate quality of life matters with Congress and our members. Our headquarters has worked extremely hard to immerse the association's leadership and membership into the legislative process, and the results have been very rewarding. I want to commend Chief Executive Reed and his team for their concerted efforts in this regard. The International Headquarters legislative staff continues to be a respected, in-demand team of experts that members of Congress, VA officials, and military leaders trust. They never miss an opportunity to tell members of Congress just what an extraordinary job our service members are doing for America. Next on our agenda, we have some documents that require further action. We begin with the most critical, the 2026-2027 AFSA proposed legislative platform. This carefully crafted document was approved in March by the International Board of Directors for submission to you, the general membership. It's located on pages 27 through 29 of the AFSA Summit magazine. This platform serves as a blueprint that will guide our coming year's legislative efforts. Hopefully you've had a chance to review the document, and we now present it to you for consideration and ratification. We will conduct this meeting under relaxed rules of order as followed in other meetings, and we'll have the discussion in each case before we accept any motions. Do we have any discussion or comments regarding the proposed legislative platform? Can you come to a mic, please?
Mike Wilder, Chapter 1056. I've been around the TRICARE system a long time, and it never ceases to amaze me that we get a pay raise each year, but lo and behold, the TRICARE copays go up at least that much, if not more. Now that we have pharmaceutical relief, so to speak, we're supposedly getting the lowest prices in the world on prescriptions now. One of your items in your platform mentions opposing fee increases and higher pharmacy copays. So with the current atmosphere in the big pharma world and the reduction in so many prescription costs, I think we should put a very strong emphasis on that point when we go to give our opinions so that TRICARE costs stay as low as possible.
Thank you. I will say one of the things we did for this legislative platform this year is in previous years we've had the platform, we had our high or our top priorities, right? And what it looked like, and it appeared, perception is everything, right? But it looked like some of the things that we were advocating for were the most important, right? And so what we did was we eliminated that from the platform this year, so everything is advocated for equally. I know John was taking notes now to make that as a point, so thank you. Any other discussion?
JP, Dale Lutzen here. Yes, sir. I got a few things I'd like to add, if I can discuss it now, or you want to discuss it later?
Sure.
Now?
Sure.
Okay. So in April of 2026, President Trump signed Executive Order 14401, accelerating medical treatment for serious medical illnesses, okay? And what I would like to do is add 4 sentences under the veteran and retiree health care and benefits, okay? And I want to read them to you, and I gave a copy of this to the recorder as well. So I'd like to ensure veterans have access to emerging and alternative therapies, including psychedelic-assisted treatments under strict medical supervision with full informed consent, safety protocols, and evidence-based evaluations. Another one would be to guarantee veterans' right to informed consent across all treatment options with a clear disclosure of risk, benefits, and alternatives for their treatment. Third, I'd like to strengthen suicide prevention efforts through research, treatment, access, and caregiver supports. And last but not least, ensure women veterans receive equitable access to high-quality, gender-specific care. And those are the 4 things that I would like to add, or like we could discuss.
Yeah, there's open for discussion. Is anybody having a discussion on what Dale Lutzen is bringing up? Go ahead.
Hi, sir. Sergeant Smith, Chapter 306. To your point, sir, I have stage 3 endometriosis. So I would like something to be brought up in the bill to advocate for proper care for women who do have endometriosis, because that's something that we don't receive in the military.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Go ahead. Right, any more discussion on Dale Lutzen's piece before we move on? Okay, he did make a motion. For his additions. Okay. We're moving to a motion. I need a motion on the floor to accept Dale Lutzen's addition to the platform. So I need a motion. Okay, I have a motion. I have a second.
Second.
All right, we have a second. Any further discussions? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Okay, those additions will be added, and we do have them imprinted, so thank you. Okay, next.
I'm Technical Sergeant Anthony Kelly from Chapter 881 and the Division 3 Vice President. I'd like to add to the military pay benefits and programs. Well, I think it's really good timing right now that at the beginning of this month, there's an executive order established, the Presidential Military Spouse Commission, which is designed to advise the White House and provide recommendations on quality of life and readiness issues facing military families. Focuses a bunch of different things for that. But one thing I want to bring up is, let me grab it. So we're trying to propose changes to military entitlements to authorize a shift differential similar to civilian sector for personnel assigned to non-standard duty hours, making up for approximately 15% of service members, or roughly 200,000. Non-standard duty hours would be 1,800 to 600. Unlike the civilian sector, military members are not offered a choice of where, when, or how they are to serve. However, while mission essential, these hours impose severe physiological, cognitive, family, personal hardships and deserve a financial offset. Title V of the U.S. Code grants GS employees with up to a 10% premium for non-standard hour workers. Active duty are also federal employees but do not receive this. Our recommendation is Tier 1, members who have sustained 3 to 4 hours of non-standard duty for at least 1 month or more should receive $75 per month. Tier 2, greater than or equal to 5 hours of non-standard duty hours for at least 1 month or more, $150 per month. Justification: already being paid to federal employees, society is designed around standard hours, essential business mostly closed during non-standard hours, non-standard hour workers demanded to accommodate standard hours, disrupting R&R. Severe domestic and community hardship, marital cohesion, parental involvement, child care logistics, and regular community engagement. Psychological health, disrupt natural sleep cycles, 50% higher risk of heart disease and stroke, along with a list of other major health issues. It also could help with retention and recruitment. Course of action: see the process for the current SSTAT pay, special duty assignment pay. That process is already in place and is something we can use to extend that to our military members. Also, Division 3 did a child care survey. We had some great results, so it's huge career retention impact. A large majority of respondents said lack of child care has affected their job or career, split between major factor and minor factor, with major factor being especially common at the, so I'm just reading the results. Number one challenge was the long wait list and availability. Some people even had a 22-month plus wait time to get into the CDC. Cost: CDC fees are tied to total household income, not just the service member's pay, is a recurring complaint, including cases where a civilian step-parent's income raised the fee tier. Families report costs rising every time pay increases, effectively canceling out raises. Off-base daycare is frequently described as 2 to 3 times more expensive than on-base CDC. And then standard CDC hours, commonly 07 to 1700, sometimes recently cuts from 06 to 1800, do not support morning PT, early flying schedules, or 12-hour shift work in fields like security forces, maintenance, medical, and fire. This is one of the most detailed and emotionally charged complaint categories in the data set. Security forces, maintenance, medical, fire, and flying units are repeatedly flagged as unsupported by standard CDC hours, with essentially no weekend or overnight care options for 24/7 operational tempos. Frequent mentions of CDC staff being overworked, underpaid, and experiencing high turnover. A few respondents reported quality attentiveness concerns, and the most common proposed fix is increasing CDC FCC staff pay to improve retention and open more child care slots. FCC is widely used as a workaround, but is limited to few certified providers, and at a few bases, friction with FCC coordinators, directors was cited as a specific service failure. Also, there's not a lot of cameras to keep track of what's going on behind the scenes at those places, so people are not really trying to use those because of that. They don't know what's going on when their child is being taken care of by somebody else in somebody else's house, almost being brought up in somebody else's household and not theirs. So that's the bottom line. So that the workaround and proposed course of action is installation commanders or command chief project needs for the next fiscal year direct to the Department of War using the executive order that has just been produced this month. DOW reviews localized needs and issues allocations based off those localized needs. It could mean increased hours, 24-hour CDC with limited classroom use based off the need, subsidies, increased construction, and incentive for FCC providers and non-standard work hours based off the need of that installation. So that's what we have to propose.
Okay. A few things. First of all, I'm going to put all of that into ChatGPT and then get a synopsis for what you just said. But no, seriously, thank you for bringing up the concerns, right? And this is what this is for, right? I will point out, so on the platform currently we have the military pay benefits and programs, right? We do have special pays in there as something that we do target, but I will, correct me if I'm wrong, IP, but I think that your first question probably would fall under the Uniform Services Trustee role first before we bring it to the legislative team, just because it's not a Congress thing yet, right? We need to work with our services on that one. But so I would ask if you can come see me afterwards, right, and get my email address, and we'll put that in to the Uniform Services bucket for that one. Your second question for the child care, we do have CDC's child care stuff on the platform currently. As far as your specific concerns, I'm not sure if there's anything else that we can really add to the platform other than.
I would love to get the survey result. I don't know if I have
Yeah.
a microphone, but I'd love to get the survey results. If you could send those out.
Right. Yeah. So what he's asking, if we can get the survey results as well.
Okay.
And I think that's something we can. If it's a targeted individual thing, right, then we can work that through your division into the headquarters, and we can action that kind of stuff, right? The intent of the platform, and you'll notice that the platform is not hyper specific on details, right? Because what we want to have is some gray areas that we can go and approach Congress on certain things. So when things do come up from our membership, we can go and advocate for you guys. So that is a specific concern. I don't think we can put it on here for that, but we'll definitely, if you can, again, come up after this, and we'll get the info. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussions? One more? Two more? One? Two more?
Chief Parker, Master Sergeant Gaskins, Chapter President, 872. Within the legislative forum that I see in front of us, especially for military families, EFMP is a congressionally mandated program. Is there any thought or consideration of having something in there to revitalize, rejuvenate, or find better programming for that program that is easier for us as military members and for our spouses to actually navigate enrollment and ensuring they are getting proper care?
So revitalize the EFMP program, is that what you're asking?
Yes, sir. It is very known that that program is poorly managed and a lot of confusion on what is available for family members, as well as everything else with it.
Does he have specific language to make?
Do you have any specific language we're looking for, or you're just in generality, the EFMP program sucks, is that what you're saying?
For the most part, I don't have specific language to add into it at this time. Just
Right.
wondering if there was thought or consideration for that being part of the forum for 26, 27.
Yeah. So with advice from my senior advisor, that's going to go back to the Uniform Services Trustee position as well. So please see me after.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I know you know where to find me. Yes.
Yes, hello. Gabriel Hennings, Chapter 1473 President. Point of emphasis on the military pay benefits and programs. Current issue that we're facing at JBEAR is housing availability. So one thing to note is the newsletter potential from privatized housing up there, Aurora Military Housing, to say what the wait lists are, what the holdups are for the housing availability, whether it's renovations or minor fixes, as well as when PCSing, additional support to cap off-base lodging in concurrent with BAH rates, because what we're seeing is that members will have their 45 days that is allowed for TLA, TLF, and they're exceeding that cap because of the lack of housing availability, both on installation and in the private sector. And so a cap on the lodging costs to make sure that they're not exceeding their BAH while they're already under the stress of PCS.
Great, and come see me afterwards. I need to get the information. But again, that's going to be another hat for the uniformed services to attack first. But yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Okay, I don't see anyone else at the mic, so we'll move to. We're going to propose the legislative platform. So do I have a motion to accept the 2026-2027 legislative platform with the additions that were approved? Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second? All right, thank you, K9. All in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. All right, the motion is carried. All right, next we have the annual resolution on the support of informed consent for veterans. Is there any discussion on the proposed annual resolution? Sorry? Oh, sorry. Backtrack. Sir, didn't see you there.
Good afternoon, Master Sergeant Petey from 1076. I would like to make a motion real quick to introduce, to allow the HQ staff to pursue legislative issues that arise during the coming year that are not specified on the platform. In other words, for the crowd, basically this motion empowers Executive Director Reed and the staff to make the call in pursuing opportunities beneficial to service members, past and present, and their families in the coming months.
Okay. Thank you, Justin. Do I have a motion, or do I have a second? Second, Jeff Foreman, 1075. Thank you, Jeff Foreman. Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. All right, motion is carried. Thank you. Sir?
Yes, sir. A couple of things that a lot of people may not know. There's a current new study being done by the VA with 600 participants in a clinical trial to start using GLP-1 injections as a treatment for alcohol abuse. It will probably be a year or two before the results of that study come about, but I'd like for that to be on your horizon to keep track of how that study's going, and particularly if that treatment is approved, we get the word out that it is available through the VA, and hopefully at some point it will be available to active duty as well. Another thing I just found out due to my current physical problems, I saw something on a national Facebook post that it's very difficult to get massages approved for as part of physical therapy. I went to my local VA clinic just the other day. I asked what it would take to get massages approved for my conditions, and the lady said, all I have to do is put in an approval for it. And even in Abilene, Texas, we have one provider who will do that for the VA. So I can imagine in some of the larger cities and areas, there will be more people available for that as providers. And it is not as, well, at least in my case, it wasn't nearly as difficult as what all these people on this Facebook page made it sound like. There were no hoops whatsoever. simple referral, just like going to any other provider for something you need.
Thank you. Yeah, I just saw the news on the GOP one the veterans are doing, so we'll take that for note too. Thank you. Okay, so next we have the annual resolution on the support of informed consent for veterans. Is there any discussion on the proposed annual resolution? Okay. Do I have a motion to accept this and forward this resolution to the appropriate national decision makers? At Bamberg for a motion. Got a second? 1066. Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. All right, the motion is carried. Now for the open letter on defending earned benefits and combating the claims of widespread fraud. Is there any discussion on the proposed letter? No discussion. Do I have a motion to accept and forward this open letter? 1551, thank you. All those in, do I have a second? All right, JP Monahan, thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. All right, the motion is carried. Before we conclude this year's legislative forum, I want to leave you with a few reminders. First, the annual POW MIA Recognition Week will be observed this year during the second full week of September 13th to 19th, with Friday, 18th September, being POW MIA Recognition Day. However, if mission requirements won't allow that scheduling, it is still important to ensure an observance at some time during the month of September. This committee urges you to work with your local base and community leadership to ensure we remind all Americans to never forget our fellow comrades in arms who never came home, and to underscore to those who are still serving today that have the full support and commitment of American people. Another important observance will be the Legislative Awareness Week, October 18th through the 24th. Yep, through the 24th, sorry about that. We strongly encourage you to plan strategies and activities that will involve your bases and communities in helping to highlight this association's great legislative work. Of note, for Legislative Week this year, Congress will not be in session, so our focus is on grassroots efforts. We've sent out the chapter legislative toolkit that we created with the team, and those has been sent out to your chapter leaderships. So please utilize those, get started early, and take action. Finally, as AFSA's International Legislative Committee Chairman, I thank all of you, from the President Haro to division officials, to legislative trustees, to chapter members, for your efforts to complete the work of AFSA staff and making this yet another extremely successful legislative year. All right, I now call for a motion to adjourn this legislative committee meeting and forum. Do I have a motion?
Fred Gambinski, 984, so moved.
Heard that. Thank you very much. I have a second.
Jeff Kennedy, chapter 306.
All right, thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Ladies and gentlemen, this 2026 AFSA Legislative Forum is adjourned.
All right, guys, some quick announcements because we got so far behind on the schedule, especially with the fire alarms. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. Just work with me here. I'm trying to work with you. We're going to take a quick break. I need all the airmen, NCO, anybody's going to be walking across the stage as a nominee for an award. I need you guys to stay here. We're going to prepare that. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to start the medallion ceremony right at 13:15. We're going to update the app as well with these new numbers, right? So we're going to roll into the medallion ceremony, and then after the medallion ceremony, then we're going to break for a late lunch. I need to get you guys out of the room and get you guys fed. All right, so we're going to break from 14:30 to basically my training hour is going to be cut, so we can get you guys for lunch, and then we'll come back after lunch for the caucus. Is everybody good with that? Yes? No? If you weren't good with it anyway, we were going to make it happen. Sorry, I'm just trying to get you guys out for lunch and not rush anything. All right? Because I didn't want to cut this short. This was why we exist. And this is why we do what we do. So I didn't want this to feel rushed. I wanted you guys to have a voice. I need you to understand how you can affect change based on our advocacy for the year. All right? So high performers, stay in here so we can get ready for the medallion ceremony. Everybody else take a break. Be back in the room at 13:15. And then we're going to start with the award ceremony to recognize and celebrate some of our exceptional performers. And then my training hour, all right, where it says it's a 1-hour business meeting. At 14:30, that's going to be your lunch. You guys good? All right, take your break, come back, and let's celebrate our exceptional performers. Thanks, guys.